Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Martin Dreyfuss Show. I know it's been a while. I've been moving. That is not the point. Over these past 6 weeks, as all of us know, Ukraine has been winning this war. But that does not mean Vladimir Putin is just like, I'm done, I'm out. In fact, that just means Vladimir Putin is going to continue to double down on his offensive. Vladimir Putin has authorized, as you can see on the screen, a draft, kind of like the U.S. did in Vietnam, to force citizens to join his military. It says over 134,000 people, meaning it seems like it's probably for more than just Ukraine. And if it is just for Ukraine, the amount of losses that the Russian forces have seen has increased drastically, or is a lot beyond what we actually know. So without any further ado, let's get into this Russian draft for their military.
Breaking moments ago, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree to draft more than 134,000 Russian citizens into the military. U.S. intelligence officials say Putin is angry and feeling misled because his own military leaders failed to inform him about key failures throughout the invasion. They were apparently too frightened to tell him. I want to go live to Kyiv.
Well, that's unfortunate, Putin, because when you create a dictatorship based on fear and not based on loyalty, that's what you're going to experience. These people aren't just scared to tell you their failures due to the fact that they might be executed or worse. They don't really want to tell you. They have no interest in benefiting your offensive when a lot of, the Russian military has no interest in fighting this war, when, a lot of Russian troops have abandoned their post, and you see these people being interviewed and they're apologizing to the world for what they've had to do. So, of course, they're not informing you.
The Ukrainian capital, and bring in CNN's chief international anchor, Christian Amanpour, who's there. Christian, I want your take on this news out of Russia. A new conscription, 134,000 new Russian troops. What does that tell you?
Well, first of all, this would be recruits, right? So they wouldn't be professionals ready to go and do anything here in Ukraine. But it might mean that what he's trying to do is rotate and regroup if, in fact, he has more professional troops on.
That's very, very important. If he's not looking to just, okay, 134,000 people, let's go to war. If Putin's looking at like 134,000 people are going to train to be professional soldiers, that doesn't just happen in a week. It doesn't just happen in a month. It takes a couple of months to even get, I would assume somebody to the level you need to comfortably place them on the battlefield. That's why Ukraine having all these civilians have guns and fight this war is so incredible. The scary part of that for me is, does that mean Russia's really going to send, all these people into Ukraine? Or are they really bolstering up for a future offensive or a future defensive, just a larger outbreak of war in the future is more so what this concerns me of. The rotation piece she is starting to cover is interesting, but 135,000, I don't know that that's just necessary for Ukraine.
Standby somewhere in Russia, because clearly this first phase of the military plan has not gone according to plan. And you just reported what the head of British GCHQ has said, and that, low morale, sabotaging their own vehicles, in one case shooting down their own aircraft. That doesn't apply to all of them, but enough of them that has made a difference on the battlefield. And so, we wait to see whether in fact this regroup in Belarus actually means bringing much more professional, more motivated Russian troops to the battlefront. I was outside Kyiv today in the outskirts, and the troops that came towards Kyiv on day one came from Belarus. And I was there with Ukrainian soldiers, many of them veterans. These are not just, day soldiers.
Of course. I mean, each country has their special forces. The Russian military is drastically bigger than the Ukrainian military, and it's a lot more powerful. We know this, but it's not like every Ukrainian soldier is some civilian, and it's far far from the fact that all these Russian military aren't specially trained soldiers. Russia didn't just send its best on the front line, and we know that. The worry is how deep is Russia willing to go? You know, we all got a playbook. We all got, Bruce Arians always has a play for the Super Bowl. I know he just retired. Shout out to him. But for when you get to the Super Bowl, that you're gonna wait to use it. You're not gonna show that play yet. So, how deep in their playbook is Russia willing to go for Ukraine? And that becomes the question. Are they willing to send their best of their best? Are they willing to do more of the same? Are they willing to give up, which it doesn't seem like they are? Because if they're willing to go as deep as they can into their playbook, that's nuclear war. And we all know that. We don't want that. But if they even go semi-deep, it's going to get even more brutal than what we've already seen. So
these are people who fought in the Donbass, have been fighting since 2014, highly trained and armed. And we saw literally a column of armored vehicles and at least two Russian tanks that had been blown up and disabled. Now, this happened a couple of weeks ago, or rather several weeks ago, during the first few days of the war. But nonetheless, they wanted to show us how they stopped the advance of this column into Kyiv. Now, what we don't know, John, and I think it's really important, we know that
I want you guys to look at this map. I know it's easy that we sit here and we kind of just listen, but this is Ukraine, right? They logically are going to get in from Crimea because, as you can see, it's annexed by Russia. We've talked about this. It's logical to launch an offensive here. Same with the Donbass region, which means all of this is logical. They want to get to Kyiv, and they can easily access all of this. So they went right into Chernobyl. Why did they go right into Chernobyl? That is so they can continue to get to Kyiv, right? So this stuff is just because this is easy for them to get through. The fact that they're not up into this center part is much more important. Up here, Sumy, we've covered a lot on Sumy. There's obviously all of these. I believe we've looked at a little bit at Luhansk. I don't know if I said that right. All of these middle areas are also easy places to enter to bring in troops onto an offensive. Their issues are getting to this center region. We know they kind of got through Sumy, and this is where they started pushing to Kyiv with that big convoy. But overall, we know that convoy's been halted due to lack of supplies and just giving the Ukrainians the opportunity to pick them off one by one because they really have been sitting ducks for weeks. All of this to say that to really get to where they need to be, to surround the capital, to really push in, is far away, and their progress has been minimal over this 6-week period of time. So, I mean, we knew a lot of this going into it. We knew that the Russian troops weren't obeying orders. We knew where they were going to enter, about the convoy, about all this, and the lack of progress. But the important part to this whole segment is the fact that 134,000 Russian citizens are being drafted into the military. Now, as the lady pointed out, that opens up the possibility for them to now transition a bunch of trained soldiers into Ukraine if they so please. It also allows them to bolster a stronger military so that if they do, let's say, get through Ukraine, or they decide to maybe spread out their attack, they can do that. They're not descaling or coming to peace with any of this. They are only escalating, and these are the things that we need to watch. So thank you guys for coming back to the channel. I was moving. I know I kind of touched on that in the beginning. We're in a new apartment. It's a lot nicer. I like it a lot more, which is great. But we'll be back with the videos consistently, and it's nice to see you guys. Peace out.